The arena lights had barely dimmed after Coco Gauff's latest victory when an unsettling scene unfolded that left both fans and family members shaken. What should have been another joyful moment in a season filled with triumph quickly turned into something darker. A confrontation that no mother should ever have to face. Coco Gauff's mother, Coco Gauff, has finally spoken out after a disturbing incident involving racist abuse directed at her daughter during a recent tournament. In an emotional and powerful statement, she made one thing very clear: "Don't touch my daughter." Those 5 words have now sent shockwaves across the tennis world. A mother's raw defense of her child and a painful reminder that even in 2025, racism still lurks in the shadows of sport. Witnesses say the situation began shortly after Coco's match ended. As she made her way to greet fans near the courtside barrier, a man in the stands began shouting offensive comments aimed directly at her. What started as heckling quickly escalated into something hateful. Security moved in, but the man attempted to get closer, reaching out toward Coco before being restrained. That's when Coco Gauff, who was watching from a few rows behind, stood up and shouted the now viral words, "Don't touch my daughter." According to those nearby, her voice cut through the chaos, fierce, protective, and filled with the kind of emotion only a parent can feel in a moment of danger. The crowd fell silent, stunned by both the audacity of the incident and the strength of Candy's response. Within minutes, security escorted the man out of the stadium, but the emotional damage had already been done. Later that evening, Candy spoke to reporters with visible emotion. "You raise your child to chase her dreams, to work hard, to represent herself and her country with pride," she said. "But nothing prepares you for the moment someone targets your child because of the color of her skin. That's not just disrespectful, it's cruel, it's unacceptable, and it has to stop." Her statement has since resonated across social media, drawing responses from fellow athletes, celebrities, and fans around the world. Serena Williams, who has been a lifelong inspiration to Coco, reposted the clip of Candy's words with the caption, "A mother's love. A queen protecting her princess. Enough is enough." Billie Jean King also weighed in, calling the situation heartbreaking but sadly not surprising, while Naomi Osaka expressed solidarity, writing, "Coco shouldn't have to deal with this. None of us should." The incident has sparked a broader conversation in tennis, one that has been simmering for years but rarely confronted so publicly. Despite the sport's polished image and global appeal, moments like these reveal the deep undercurrents of prejudice that still exist. For many fans of color, what happened to Coco felt painfully familiar. Coco Gauff's decision to speak up wasn't just about defending her daughter. It was about demanding accountability from those who run the sport. "We talk about fairness, respect, and inclusion in tennis," she said. "But it's time for actions to match those words. My daughter deserves to compete without fear. Every player does." Tournament organizers have since confirmed that the individual involved has been permanently banned from attending future events. The ADP and WTA both issued statements condemning racism in all forms, with the WTA adding that it was reviewing security measures to better protect players. Still, for the Gauff family, the emotional scars run deep. Coco, who is known for her maturity beyond her years, spoke briefly about the incident in a post-match interview the following day. "I'm okay," she said calmly, "but it's disappointing that we're still talking about this kind of thing. I just want to play tennis. I want little girls watching me to know that no matter what people say or do, you belong here. We all do." Those words, simple yet powerful, struck a chord around the world. Fans flooded her social media pages with messages of support, using the hashtag #WeStandWithCoco, which quickly trended globally. Many shared their own stories of facing discrimination, expressing gratitude that someone with Coco's platform was shining light on an issue too often ignored. Behind the scenes, her family is rallying around her. Her father, Coco Gauff, a former basketball player and her longtime coach, has always been the calm voice guiding her career. But insiders say that even he was visibly shaken by what happened. "You can handle criticism in sport," he reportedly told a friend, "but when it becomes hate, when someone crosses that line, it's personal. And that's when you stop being just an athlete's parent and start being a protector." In many ways, this episode has revealed the strength and unity of the Gauff family. a family that has always faced challenges with grace and resilience. From Coco's early days on tour, Candy and Corey have been her anchors, teaching her to handle fame, pressure, and scrutiny with poise. But even they admit this was different. This wasn't about tennis, Candy said in a later interview. It was about basic human decency. And when someone tries to strip that away from your child, you don't stay silent. Tennis authorities now find themselves under renewed pressure to address racism more forcefully, not just with statements, but with concrete action. Some commentators have suggested harsher penalties for fans involved in hate incidents, while others have called for educational programs and more visible anti-racism campaigns at major tournaments. For Coco, though, the focus remains on her game. Sources close to the family say she returned to practice the next morning, determined not to let the ugliness of one moment overshadow her goals. That's just Coco, one insider said. She feels things deeply, but she channels everything into her tennis. That's her way of fighting back. And indeed, in her next match, she stepped onto the court with a quiet intensity. Her expression said it all. Calm but defiant, strong but centered. When she clinched victory, she looked toward the stands, where her parents stood side by side. For a brief moment, her eyes met her mother's, and they both smiled, a silent exchange of pride and strength. Because at the heart of this story is something timeless, a mother's love. Candy Gauff's words, "Don't touch my daughter," were not just a cry of anger. They were a declaration. A reminder that behind every champion is a parent who has fought battles far greater than the ones played out on the court. Coco Gauff's journey has always been about more than just tennis. It's about resilience, representation, and rising above adversity. And now, thanks to her mother's courage, it's also about standing firm against hate. No matter where it appears, as the tennis season continues, one thing is certain. Coco Gauff will keep shining, and Candy Gauff will keep standing beside her. The voice of a mother who refused to stay silent, reminding the world that respect is not optional and love always wins.